Growing up, I had dreams and aspirations, but always felt like the kid that didn't fit in. For the most part, I wasn't a bad kid, but when I made the transition into adulthood, I turned to the streets for guidance. This led to getting locked up in juvenile hall, doing time in CYA, and eventually a 120-month sentence in federal prison. I had a lot of time to think and reflect during my federal sentence, so I share with you what I learned, hoping I can positively influence someone else's life with Prison Talk. What's up, everybody? Big Herc, Prison Talk, and you tuned in to another episode. I want to thank you for supporting our channel, and make sure you subscribe to our Instagram, our Twitter, and our Patreon, which is Fresh Out Series, and also go to our website and subscribe. It's freshoutseries.com, and if you got a question, shoot us a question or comment off the website, or you can also email us at freshoutseries@gmail.com. Had a question from one of our viewers. Hey, Big Herc, I'm a big fan of what you're doing. It's very educational, and hopefully it can steer would-be criminals and conflicts away from crime and prison. My question is regarding Malcolm X, el-Hajj, Malik, el-Shabazz. In his autobiography, Malcolm X credits this time in prison with being a major factor from him changing his ways. Despite being unable to read or write to a decent level, he began reading books in his time in prison, educate himself. It was his time in prison that he turned away from drugs, cigarettes, and pork. It's truly remarkable how a degenerate, low-life, dead-end drug dealer and thief would end up becoming one of the most influential black men of the modern age, doing an incredible amount for black people and Muslims in America and in Africa. What's more remarkable is that this transformation began when he was at the lowest point in his life behind bars. Malcolm X's transformation reminded me of you, about how you committed a crime, were locked up, used your time in prison to read and study, and how now you propagate good conduct and educate people on prison and crime. My question is, do you see parallel between your story and Malcolm X, and has he had an influence on your output on life? Do you have an opinion of the man to share to us? Thanks, Big Herc. I could never put myself in the same, category as Malcolm X. I mean, Malcolm X, what he did for, the black race, for the human race, and for speaking up and just showing the world what a black man can accomplish. I'm so far from that at this point, and I can't say, I can see myself being him. All I'm doing is trying to be me. I'm just trying to be Big Herc. I'm just trying to be, the guy who's made mistakes, who wasn't necessarily the perfect person, but I was able to learn from my mistakes and turn the 10 years I've done, throughout my life incarcerated into a positive. It takes the lowest point sometimes in your life to actually think about what you've done and to realize that you can make a change. I mean, when you're out on the streets and you're partying, you're doing whatever you're doing, and you're hanging out and you're caught up in the moment, you don't realize what you have until you've lost it. And even when you lose things on the street, you're still have your freedom. And so you still think that, it's not necessarily the lowest point. The lowest point, man, is when you are locked up in a cell and you have somebody telling what you to do 24 hours a day, and at any given moment they can run up in your cell, tell you to get butt naked, squat, cough, look in your butthole, make you get on the ground, make you cuff up, basically make you walk around naked. I mean, there's no lower than prison. And so if you can't find a way to change your life at that low point, there's no change in you. You're not gonna do anything outside of what you've been doing if you can't see that this is it. This is the bottom of the barrel. And for me, I just had to really look at how the fuck did I get here? I knew how to read and write. I was almost a straight A student. I had been to college. I wasn't a dummy. And, there's a lot of educated people in prison. And, my grandma raised me with certain morals and respect. And, my mom wasn't on crack or nothing like that, but I still fucked up, man. I still made some horrible choices, and I realized that it was the momentum of choices that led me to actually making a decision to commit a bank robbery. So I had to go and basically start from ground zero and change my decision-making process and the things that I believed in and I followed that led to my path to prison. I had to reverse that. And it was a process, it's not without friction, not wanting to hang out with certain people, not doing your typical program, being my own man. I had a lot of guys that used to be mad and jealous and, and it would create hatred. I had guys calling me, the black white guy because I talked proper and I was always studying. But that's how ignorant these motherfuckers were because, they just were doing time. They didn't even understand what the charges were they were in there for outside of what the judge told them. They never even researched their cases. A lot of these guys could probably have gotten out early, but they didn't care. So, it did, prison for me, it led me on a righteous path because I wanted to become more than just an ex-felon. I still had my dreams of being a multimillionaire, being successful, traveling the world. I wasn't gonna get out and settle for no punk ass job where I'm a slave to somebody else. And I just really put my focus on what I needed to accomplish while I was in there so that I'd be prepared when I got out because I was gonna lose a decade of my life. But, in Malcolm X, I've read, his autobiography in prison a long time ago. I couldn't really quote you on a lot of the stuff in there, but I do know that he, what he accomplished was amazing, and his influence on our culture and just creating awareness, it really motivated me. And knowing that he came from a dark place, it kind of gave me inspiration that knowing where I was, there was always something greater outside. There was always some hope. I didn't have to settle. I didn't have to let this be the end of my road. And that's what Malcolm X gave me. He gave me, heart to move on. He gave me, insight. He inspired me. And, I hope I inspire others, around me or people who watch my videos so that they can make better choices and hopefully pull themselves out of their darkest place right now to become successful too. Because, there's nothing great about prison, and we need more mentors. We need more Malcolm X's. We need more Martin Luther Kings, more Kwame Tumas, more just people who inspire, and that's what we're here to do on Fresh Out and Big Herc, So I hope that answered your question, but I can't really put myself in the same category as him, but I would hope that my legacy lives on beyond me and that I can hopefully affect people to some degree how he affected people in a positive way.
Lockdown's over. Get your yard time in. Exclusively at FreshOutSeries.com.